Hello, everybody. Dave Neal here, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News, and we have a Kaitlyn Bristowe day for us today on Hump Day. Actually, multiple stories. Kaitlyn Bristowe was on a podcast, Not Skinny and Not Fat, and on that Not Skinny but Not Fat, kind of how I feel going after the holidays here. But she discusses that Chris Harrison ghosted her when she found out she would be the Bachelorette host, how many times she messaged him. These aren't the real messages, those are fabricated. And then when she finally did see him, her confrontation there, a fascinating clip. There's a lot to get into here, so we're going to jump right into it. Follow me on Instagram at DNeals for all my stand-up show updates. I do want to say a shout out to the lovely couple that came to my stand-up shows last night in Hawthorne. How kind. We had someone come up, and then her boyfriend was like, she really watches your channel and wanted to say hi, and she was like, oh my gosh, no. And I was like, thank you so much for saying hi. I get so much joy when people come to live shows and we get to talk after. So I hope you enjoyed the rest of your trip to all the San Diego Zoo and all the things you have going on, to our friends that came to the show last night. And also don't forget patreon.com/Dave Neal, daily behind the scenes bonus content. I will be there for you today at 10 a.m. And Bachelor Rush Hour, the podcast, hit a milestone yesterday with 3,000 downloads. Thank you so much for the daily podcast. We try to give you a unique look at content above and beyond what we have here on the YouTube. So I appreciate all the support there. All right, I'm going to get right into it. I've got the full clip here. Let's first listen to the sort of teaser clip, and then we'll listen to the full thing. How Chris Harrison ghosted Kaitlyn Bristowe.
Also a dear friend of mine.
You guys were close.
I always said when Jason proposes, he has to ask my dad, my stepdad, and Chris Harrison.
Stop. So what happened?
All these articles started coming out saying Kaitlyn Bristowe and Tayshia Adams replacing Chris Harrison. And so I messaged Chris probably 10 times without him responding. And so I was like, you're
So there it is right there, all the times. Hello, Chris. Hello, where are you? All right, I'm going to play the full clip now. We also hear a little bit about the thought of why Kaitlyn thought she would be replacing Chris and why she thought she would be doing it without Tayshia. Now, if you enjoy this type of commentary, I'm going to be making the next video exclusively for subscribers. And in that video, I'm going to share the clips where Kaitlyn discusses Nick Viall, the backlash of him talking trash about her response to him, and how she got Nick on his pre-glow up. It's a fascinating chat. That's going to be just for those who hit the subscribe button, and I'll have that video up in 1 hour from now. Let's go back to listen to what Kaitlyn had to say. Again, just for the subscribers right there. Going to reward the subscribers today. So that's a free. Subscribing on YouTube is free. That's not the Patreon. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button. All right, but let's hear what she has to say about replacing Chris.
That's like really gross. I'm like kind of, ugh,
Yeah.
that's gross. And then you hosted. So here's the thing though.
Yeah.
You've talked some shit about Bachelor people.
Yeah.
Do it.
About Mike. Sometimes, I don't even remember if you used to say things about Chris, but you were upset with the franchise sometimes. But they give you opportunities, which is pretty cool.
They didn't for a while.
Yeah.
And then they did because I think they saw like, well, she speaks her mind whether we like it or not. And people, it's always about ratings.
Yeah.
So if she's kept an audience for this long, let's give her a shot at doing the hosting because these people are so loyal. So I think they were like, oh, let's see what happens. And Bennett, one of the executive producers, he was one of my main producers as a Bachelorette, and I've always got along really well with him. And he always kind of believed in me, and he gave me the shot for hosting.
Did you like it?
I loved it. I felt like that's where I was supposed to be in life. I thought I was going to do it for a long time. I really did.
What? How many seasons was it? 2?
2.
And then what? They just decided not to bring you back?
I was on the tour bus for Dancing with the Stars, and I remember I had to take a meeting, and I was in the back of the bus, and Rob Mills and Bennett called me, and I thought they were going to be like, all right, so you're our new host. And they were like, well, you probably, saw this coming, but we can't have you anymore. And I was like, what? I didn't see that coming.
Of course you didn't see it coming. Now, everyone is the star of their own story. So Kaitlyn goes, this is destiny. I've built up for this moment. I'll have my own trailer with my name on it. I think I'll redo the trailer. Let's move the dresser over there because I get better natural light. Yeah, you start painting the picture to your story, and unfortunately it didn't turn out.
I had all the confidence in the world.
Yeah.
And so they were like, yeah, we need a more consistent host. And so we're going with Jesse Palmer. And
Which was out of left field, no?
I was like, well, you're making a mistake, not because I don't like Jesse. I think he's actually an incredible host. And
you thought you wanted the thing with Tayshia where both of you were supporting to be, wait, no, you and Tayshia did it by yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
For Michelle's season.
Michelle and Katie.
Michelle and Katie, you did by yourselves.
Mm-hmm. Then we were done.
Oh, that was the only thing?
Yeah.
So did you think you would get it like alone maybe?
I did. I did because at the end, Tayshia had COVID and couldn't make it for the finale for that.
Oh, remember these good old days? I still think that the COVID excuse was baloney. I don't believe it. I think it was a contract negotiation. I could be wrong. I don't know.
After the final rose live taping and everyone...
Or they didn't want Tayshia and they told her, hey, don't you have COVID? And I don't know. Who would use COVID as an excuse? I don't know, folks. It's fishy.
Shitting their pants. Like, Kaitlyn's up there alone. She can go rogue. Like, who knows where this chick's a liability.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I was like, I am going to do my best I can.
Yeah.
And I felt so good about it.
Kaitlyn crushed it.
Wow, you did really well.
Crushed it.
And then...
how do you explain that?
It's a high pressure situation. Live TV. Kaitlyn crushed it. No doubt about it. The bar was set high and she reached it.
Why? How did they decide on Jesse Palmer?
I think they just wanted a more consistent role where it was like someone that's going to host The Bachelor, The Bachelorette, and Paradise.
And you couldn't do that?
I don't think they wanted me to.
Oh, so what do you mean they wanted a more consistent?
I don't know. Someone that's like...
You're like, I'm just saying.
I'm just saying what I was told.
So Chris Harrison, we talked about this before. He has a podcast. I haven't listened, but I've gotten cliff notes from different people. He was talking about people that reached out to him. He's naming names. Well, your name didn't come up. I told you.
It didn't. I reached out to him.
All right, so this is where it gets fun. This is the same thing that happened with Nick. When someone finds out that Chris didn't mention them, then they feel entitled to respond with their true feelings, and it gets messy. Podcast wars. Let's do it.
It didn't.
I'm surprised he actually didn't say anything. So he didn't bring up my name?
I don't think so. He didn't. I told you he mentioned Nick's name.
Mm-hmm.
He mentioned that he thought Wells should get it.
Mm-hmm.
The job.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes it, he was also in the family.
Yeah, Wells is amazing.
So it's interesting that it's hard because like sometimes when you work places and this was like work, it's like something doesn't really make sense and you just have to like accept.
I know. Because you're like, there's always a reason in the higher ups that I won't ever know about.
Yeah.
But I am shocked that Chris never said anything because so when they offered, first of all, when all of that went down with him and Rachel is a dear friend of mine. And I didn't agree with how Chris was talking to her in that interview. But Chris is also a dear friend of mine. So
I remember you podcasting with him and like you guys were close.
Oh, he was, to me, one of my, like, I always said when Jason proposes, he has to ask my dad, my stepdad, and Chris Harrison.
Stop.
Yeah.
So what happened?
So I was like, okay, when this all went down, I reached out to Rachel and I reached out to Chris and I said, what you did was wrong. You know that. I understand there's so much more to it, but what do you want me to do to support you while also standing up for what I believe in? And then he called and we talked and he just said like, yeah, I don't want anyone to really get involved or whatever. Like it's hard. So I understand that you have to, say what you need to say. And I was like, well, I don't agree with what you said, but you know that, blah, blah, moving on. Then they offered me the position to come in and what they said, the Bachelor franchise said it was to mentor Katie.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be replacing Chris.
Right.
So then all these articles started coming out saying Kaitlyn Bristowe and Tayshia Adams replacing Chris Harrison. And so I messaged Chris probably 10 times without him responding. And that is so not like him to me. And I know it's not about me. It's not about
what did you want, his blessing?
No, I just wanted him to know that I thought he was irreplaceable and that I didn't want to step on toes.
Oh.
And so I was like, you're irreplaceable. I don't know what my role is. They said it was mentor, but now I'm seeing articles about how I'm replacing you and that makes me feel icky. And then he didn't write back. And then I was like, okay, well now I'm panicking. Why didn't you write me back? And then he didn't write me back. And then I was like, I'm on my period. Am I being emotional? But like, do you hate me? And then he didn't write back. And then I was like, can you call me? And then he didn't write back. And then
of course, people in the chat
Chris was also
over here said, what was he supposed to say? Thank you for taking my job. Roll for the season. Good luck. Yeah, okay, I understand. And I think Kaitlyn understands too. It's like he lost his job, his identity, he was ostracized, and she was kind of like cleaning up the floor with his blood and guts. Nothing intentional, because what Chris says in his own podcast is he gets it. Everyone was vying for the job. Everyone wanted a shot.
It was like, okay, he hates me. And we were like best friends and now he hates me. And then I saw him at Wells and Sarah's wedding and I walked up to him and I was like, I miss you. And he's like, well, I've always been here. And I'm like, no, you haven't. You haven't responded to me in like forever.
Freaking love Kaitlyn. I missed you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was tough.
So you didn't get answers.
No.
How could he not like you for taking a job?
So I don't think it was.
Look, we all can understand, right? We can understand any decisions Chris made in that moment might not have been clear-headed. He was probably turned his phone off, went to Texas and golfed for a few months, right? That's not to defend Chris. That's just to say, yeah, she took his job. It's messy. I'm sure she wouldn't change it for the world because in the end, Chris wouldn't defend her over his job. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's out to get their own.
Actually about me, if I can remove again my ego.
I'm like, you're getting me fucking hot today, Kaitlyn. Now I understand.
I had a shot of tequila before.
But it's just like, how could he?
Have you ever read the 4 Agreements?
No.
Okay. Well, one of the 4 agreements to try and live by in life is to not take anything personally. And I had
it's his. It's not.
It wasn't about me.
Yeah.
I think he was going through so much in his life, and he was like, he lost 20 pounds. He was depressed. He was
obviously, but there was a reason why.
But I mean, yeah, I think he was definitely.
It's not about you, obviously, but there's a reason why he didn't consider you a safe person, a close.
Yeah,
person
I bawled my eyes out about it because I was like
you lost
that friendship just felt like it went down the toilet. And
Do you think he was mad about you not supporting him publicly?
No. Because
it was more about taking his role.
How do you
what did he want people
publicly?
To say no to opportunities?
Right. I would.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's not like he didn't. I wasn't Nick where I was smelling blood in the water.
Yeah.
And I
so
was
that's
like,
what he was saying. I was telling Kaitlyn before we started. One of the things he said on the podcast was that there were a lot of people that didn't wait a second. Agents were reaching out.
Oh, I never reached out to anyone.
And trying to get. I mean, because it's a coveted position.
Oh.
To get and people always thought he'll do it till he dies.
Yeah.
And then
it's tough too, because I think he told me on my podcast that he would retire around the age of 42, 43. And this was around that time. And that's his legacy now. So I think he was probably really crushed that he wanted to go out on top when he was, and then that's how people are going to remember him. It's really tough.
Yeah.
So I think it was just all him going through his own stuff. And I don't think it was my fault.
Yeah.
But I think he...
Did you congratulate him for his engagement with Lauren and stuff?
Oh, yeah. I congratulated him on the podcast.
By the way, I didn't realize... So Chris Harrison's 51. I didn't realize Lauren Zima's only 35. No offense to Lauren Zima. I just thought they were closer in age than that. So when Kaitlyn said she thought he would retire at 42, I think she meant 52. 42 is pretty young to retire. That would have been 9 years ago for him. Anyway, I love that Kaitlyn mentions the 4 agreements. The 4 agreements, you can read the book. Be impeccable with your word. Don't take things personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. It's an amazing book. And honestly, I was introduced to the 4 agreements because that's what Tom Brady lives by. And of course, today, Tom Brady announced his retirement. Have a listen.
Good morning, guys. I'll get to the point right away. I'm retiring for good. I know the process was a pretty big deal last time, so when I woke up this morning, I figured I'd just press record and let you guys know first. So I won't be long-winded. You only get one super emotional retirement essay, and I used mine up last year, so really thank you guys so much, to every single one of you, for supporting me. My family, my friends, my teammates, my competitors. I could go on forever. There's too many. Thank you guys for allowing me to live my absolute dream. I wouldn't change a thing. Love you all.
Tom Brady, the greatest to ever play the game of professional football. Also, we've got Kaitlyn Bristowe, possibly the greatest contestant to ever come from the show. I've got one more Kaitlyn Bristowe video coming up. It's a juicy one. It's for subscribers only. We'll be back right after this.